Hey, what's up everyone? I hope this moment finds you doing well. I'm just sitting outside in the vehicle right now and decided to make another quick video. And this one is non-political. This one is really, it's just, there's no particular topic except mainly the Mandela effect, but some others mixed in that I might decide to talk about just off the wall. But the this phenomenon goes back for me as long as I can remember. And I've been writing about things. I had written some documents in, let's see, in ninth grade and some other grades. I was always writing, and I was always writing theories and just poetry, all kinds of poems and all kinds of things that I would write regarding what I thought or my emotions of the moment. One of the things that I wrote down was I documented something that had happened. I wish I'd documented everything, but I was right inside the back door. I just got ready to go outside. It was cold outside. There had been some snow on the ground, and I thought about building a small, tiny little snowman, or snowfolk, as when I sent a small snowman into the news people recently. That's what, or last year, that's what they called it, snowfolk, to the meteorologist. But I remember grabbing the gloves and that my Nana had got me for Christmas, and I picked them up, and both of them were suddenly two left-hand gloves. And I thought, did she get me two left-hand gloves? And I said, why would she get me two wrong gloves? And Mama seen it, I showed it to her. And by the way, she's also affected by that, the Jungle Book change. I showed her that, and she said, yeah, I remember the coconut bra too. So that's also an effect for her, a change for her, which we really can't fully explain why these things are happening, but we know they are. But the gloves changed. Both of them were just two left-hand gloves. I thought, I can't use two left-hand gloves, because I looked at them and they were the same exact glove. The thumb was on the same side on both of them, facing palm upward. And all of a sudden, I just kind of shook them and moved them around and shuffled it, and boom! Right there in that spot, they changed back to a right and a left-hand glove. I'll never forget that moment. It was cold outside, and I was about to go outside and try to build some small snowmen, and those two gloves had shifted. And all of a sudden I thought, whoa, maybe I can try that again. So I shook the gloves and moved them and tried it again after they had changed back, and they changed back to two left gloves. And I'm like, whoa, this is incredible. I'm going to try to video this. But by the time I tried to video it, they both changed back to a right and a left glove, to the correct way. That plane/drone thing is going over again. Dang, I wish I could have recorded it. But when you look at reality itself, and you look at us, and you look at computers, it's kind of amazing that reality itself follows a set of mathematical laws and principles. Even coding, if you think about it. These laws and principles govern the existence. And some things that they've recently seen bend and go beyond the laws of physics themselves. Like Isaac Newton's laws of motion and things like that. These laws, mathematical laws and principles, like a long time ago Pythagoras discovered, and he used the Pythagorean theorem to measure the earth and all this kind of stuff. He used these mathematical equations: a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and so on. C is the hypotenuse, and you solve that out to measure distances with a triangle. And they did all of this and realized that the universe that we are in itself follows these mathematical laws and principles. Just very similar to the way our body follows a set of coding: ATGC, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Those four basic components that make up the double helix DNA, the building block, the deoxyribonucleic acid that makes up the human being, makes up you, it makes up me, it makes up the person next to you, it makes up the people around you. And that DNA, like all of the stuff working together, the chlorophyll that works together in the plants, the genetic makeup of those plants, the structure of the plants that make up that allow them to be able to absorb that light to reflect green. So it's all of these things work in order, and all of these, and like the particles that make up water You have the hydrogen and oxygen particles that make up water. You have everything set in place a certain amount by numbers, and that coding, very similar to computer coding. So obviously it needs a creation source to be able to work this out. Everything is too perfect. And yes, the multiverse is very possible and very likely. That's why I don't understand why scientists don't utilize this phenomenon of the Mandela effect. I don't understand why they don't utilize the ME phenomenon to further study their own hypothesis. Because what is the scientific method? They continue conducting experiments until their hypothesis or theory becomes fact. And when a large group of them agree on something and have continued to do the experiment over and over, and they finally get the same results, then most of them agree upon something, and that's when they put it in the books, most of the time. That's why I never got when they stated that we have just 18 months. They said majority of the scientists agreed on it. Well, the majority is not all. You need to have a large majority. They said some scientists agreed. When they say some scientists and it makes world news, that's not enough. You need to have a majority of them to agree upon something before and have it proven. But that's what theoretical physics is. That's what quantum mechanics is. The quantum bit, the qubit. I mean, it sounds impossible, but there's a particle that, it's like, no, not a duplicate of itself, but it's a particle that literally they've discovered moving so fast, and they discovered this subatomic particle can exist in two places at the exact same time. The same particle, like a parallel particle. And they say that the subatomic particles act very, very strange. And quantum physics, quantum mechanics, they have studied these particles and said, you know, we actually sent a singularity through time. And when you look at the experiments they've done on these quantum particles, these qubits, they've discovered that they can exist simultaneously in two places. The same particle. Not a copy of it, but the same exact particle existing in two places. And that would seemingly be impossible. That's why they say that these quantum particles work in mysterious ways. They work in impossible ways. And then you've got dark matter. You've got antimatter. And supposedly there's this perfect balance keeping everything from collapsing. I mean, everything lined up just so that everything could be and is. So, I mean, it's a perfect design. And they're saying, well, if we are a simulation, then who's the programmer? Well, God, duh. But they're just starting to scratch the surface on that. And it's just kind of an interesting thought to go into, because if you look at computer coding and genetics, it's very similar to the way we are, but except we're biological. Like ask Google or Alexa, ask Google, ask it, are you alive? For example, people have done that, and it'll say, well, you're made up of cells and microbiology. You're made up of cells and electromagnetic impulses and things, and sending information and requests and sending commands and all of that. Hello, the bee has come back to see me. But anyway, yeah, we're made up of neurological neurons that tell us what to do, while the computer devices, they're made up of sets of zeros and one, a complex set of zeros and ones, of algorithms carrying, binary code, which now they have quantum coding, which is even further, has two copies of itself existing at the same time. But that goes deep. But they stated that, I'm saying a lot, but the devices run on binary coding, just computing, sets of zeros and ones, creating complex algorithms to carry out a command or a response to your command. And the digital world works very similarly, but different. But you've got to have these codings. You have to have this coding to make it all work. Just like everything, the laws and principles that make us work are designed. But yeah, I'll never forget. Maybe that was a glitch in the Matrix. Maybe that was a glitch in existence. Maybe the Lord will reveal all this to us someday. But there had to be a perfect sacrifice. I get now back to what I believe in the Lord. There had to be a perfect sacrifice. There were sacrifices all this time, and there had to be a perfect ultimate sacrifice, because without it, humans are just inevitably doomed. We're just without the ultimate blood sacrifice of the Lord. And that's why that happened. And we're just we're just descendants of the lost. We're the lost, and we have to have guidance. We have to have a Savior, and that's the Lord. I still believe that, no matter which reality we're in, what simulation experience we're experiencing, what's going on, what dream we're in. When you go into a dream, sometimes that feels like the real world, really. And then you go back into this one, and you're back here again, and so that's just another trippy thing. But no, I'm not on anything right now. I'm just literally thinking. I'm not on anything. I don't do anything like that anyway. But still, it's just deep to think about. Think about how the mathematical laws and principles that govern existence are put together to make everything work in unison. And at the same time, the same type of coding is done, mathematical sets of codes, algorithms, to make computer programs work and make the entire grid, the entire electronic world that we see today and utilize today work. So we're just copying the sort of copying and mimicking the design that's already here, and it's pretty trippy to think about. I'll talk a little bit more later in another video. I've talked a lot, but yeah, those gloves disappearing like that just made me think. Those gloves changing. I've had disappearing items. I've talked about altered reality, alternate reality. I've talked about all of that. I've talked about many different things. I've written documents about them for many years. I've written so many documents. I've typed out so many documents and put them in my Google Drive now, some of them, and the rest is on InkPad, Notepad. But I've been writing these things and typing these things for years, and it turns out these thoughts were more common than I thought in the collective consciousness of. I've been sort of feeling things like that for a very long time. Very long time. But some interesting thoughts. That's my thoughts of the moment. That's just Saturday's thoughts. So peace, much love. Oh, I also wanted to show, I will show that sometime, our two trees, this maple tree and the Bradford pear tree, they both reached across the driveway. Their limbs reached across the driveway to each other so they could touch each other, grab each other. And it's like they're connecting as a friendship, that energy, that connection. Trees do that. Their roots do it, their limbs do it, and these vines will move toward objects. It's like they are alive. They are conscious. And it's pretty cool. Everything, the design of everything is just so complex and amazing. Anyway, peace, much love. I hope to talk with you all again very soon, and feel free to donate. The link's below, and it would help out a lot. And if you enjoy my content, feel free to like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. Peace. I'm out.